told you about the keto diet where they say like, go on the keto diet, you'll lose weight right away. Every time you go out of ketosis, it takes you twice as long to get back into it again. So I was on the keto diet for a month, and then we went to Germany, and I ate all the bad things, because in Germany you eat potatoes, you eat spatzel, you eat all the fried pork chops in the world that you can stomach, and that's what we ate. Then you come back from it and you try and go back on the keto diet again, and it takes you 3-4 weeks to get back into that place where you start seeing weight loss on the scale. So one of the things I had to learn was, in order to be satisfied with your results, it's not about the scale, it's about your measurements. So measurements became really important, because I don't know if you saw the thing I posted on Facebook, but your body gets used to the weight that you're at. So when you start to lose fat, when you lose fat, those fat molecules actually replace it with water, because it assumes that you're gonna go right back to the same size again. It assumes you're gonna assume the same habits that you've always had, and it fills it with water molecules. So you don't see a change on the scale, but if you take your measurements, you see a change in fat size. So it takes me at this point, because I've gone on and off of the keto diet, I do what's called carb cycling. I've done this so often. It takes me about 3 weeks before my body goes, oh, that fat's not coming back again, before I start seeing 5, 10, 15 pounds drop off of the scale. So that was one of the first things that I had to come to the understanding of. The second thing was, when you go on things like the profile diet and you realize it's not sustainable, and you talk to the people that did the profile diet and they lost 95 pounds and now they're 115 pounds up in body weight, it's because you haven't trained your body to do the thing that you love to do. For me, it's I love to eat. So I had to learn within that how to train my body to still lose weight, even though I like to consume carbs, okay? So when Jenny first told me about these ketones, I was like, let me just show you for a second. Okay, I'm gonna open my cupboards. Okay, minus this, because this is now in my regimen. I'm gonna show you for 2 seconds what I take on a daily basis. It's gonna take me a few seconds. As a power lifter, this is what I take every day. So I take this, I take this one in the morning, I take this one before and after I work out, I take this after I work out, I take this to help me sleep, and I take these 2 in the morning. One is an upper and one's a downer. So I have a ton of supplements. When Jenny's like, you have got to try ketones, the first thing I thought was, I cannot put anything else in my body. Oh, and then there's my multivitamins that I take every day. Like, I can't put anything else in my body and not be worried that at some point something's gonna interact. So, December hit and I had colon issues. I developed diverticulitis. I went from having like 6 months of really good workouts to all of a sudden I was sick. And I ended up in the hospital over Thanksgiving. Then I came home and they told me I needed surgery, and I had 8 inches of my colon out in December. So I could not work out for 8 weeks. Then I started working out again. And during the 8 weeks that I was off, I had to teach my body how to eat all the things that I had trained it in a year and a half not to eat. I had to eat white bread, I had to eat white rice, I had to eat all of the bland things, like those things, because that's what your body digests really quickly. It doesn't get stuck in your digestive tract, and your body's now trying to figure out how to digest things and take in the nutrients it needs with 8 less inches of colon. So I ate like crap for 8 weeks because that's what I was told to do. That's what I had to do. And hindsight 2020, now I have a diet that's a lot easier to regulate, because coming out of diverticulitis, they told me a bunch of things I couldn't eat, and I'm like, this doesn't sound like any fun. They took out my colon, now I can eat all those things I couldn't eat, and started working out again. Well, the thing about your brain is when you tell it, okay, now you have to eat these things that you haven't eaten for a year, or that you've been really good at saying, I'm not gonna eat this for a year, and then you have to go back to saying, okay, now I'm not gonna eat those things, it totally screws up your body and it screws up your mentality. Like it's 80% mentality and 20% physical activity at the end of the day, no matter how many times you decide to work out, or even if you just walk. So trying to train my brain back into ketosis. I also enjoy having an alcoholic beverage every now and again. So the thing about, thank you. The thing about the keto diet also is when I have 3 or more vodkas, because they say drink clear liquids when you're going to drink alcohol, and they say drink something that doesn't have sugar in it, so I drink vodka diets. Even if you do that, it takes you 3 to 4 days before your liver starts processing ketones again instead of the alcohol that you drink. It stops ketosis. So now I'm thinking, okay, if I go back on the keto diet and I have bread one day, I'm screwed. If I go back on the keto diet and I drink one day, I'm screwed. It's gonna take me 2, 3, 4 weeks to get back into ketosis. Then Jenny came into the picture. Jenny says, you've gotta try ketones. So the thing about ketones, it's a natural supplement, and I've done a lot of research because this is everything I put in my body, right? And I'm now very picky about what I put into my body. I started researching Prove It. And I looked, it's made completely natural. They've got doctors that are supporting behind the studies that they're doing on a regular basis. They've made a ton of videos, and I've watched all of them, I promise you. And I started watching the videos. I started looking at the results that people were having. Jenny invited me to the Simple Proven Results page, and I'm like, this stuff looks like it's too good to be true. Jenny's like, okay, here's the deal. Take a 5-day trial pack. Tell me what you think. Day 1, I woke up, take my shaker bottle, and I'm like, okay, I'm gonna do my protein drink at 10 instead of 7, and I'm gonna start with my ketones. I took the ketones at 7. I walked into the office, and my admin assistant was like, what is wrong with you? I have not been that productive in like a year. I was like, we need to do this, 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 and this. I give her a list of things she needs to do. I've got my list of things I need to do. And the whole week was like that. My energy level was super high. Like, maybe it's just because spring is here. I don't know. I'm going to go a day or 2 without the ketones and see what happens. The first day without the ketones, I was like, I want to take a nap. I just want to eat everything that's in sight. Like, I cut the ketones out of my diet for a day, and I'm like, all right, this is like crack for people that want to lose fat. It's like, I can't even tell you. So if I back up again in my story, for those of you that don't know me very well, I own my own business. I travel at least on a monthly basis. I'm a firefighter and a first responder. I'm on the school board, and I have 4 boys at home. The last thing I needed was another thing on my plate. But the reason that I sell Prove It is 150% because this stuff works. From an energy level standpoint, from a weight loss standpoint, and from a mood standpoint, there's a lot of benefits to it, and I posted that on the page this week if you were coming to the party. But those 3 things in particular for me are what keeps me having these every single day. So I'm going to tell you one more story, and then we're going to actually taste test some of them. And I'll talk a little bit about why they've got sodium in them, and talk about the caffeine versus non-caffeinated ones. But 2 weeks ago, so I'm a power lifter, so I do back squats, deadlift, and bench press religiously. That's what I do, and that's what I compete doing. I tore an ass muscle 3 weeks ago. It was not good. It hurt. So 2 weeks I struggled. 2 weeks I did not work out to try and give my body the opportunity to recover. And one of the things I know is when you cut from a nutrition standpoint, when you cut carbs and you cut sugar out of your body and you have an injury, your body starts to freak out a little bit. It likes to use carbs particularly to recover from an injury. So I've been trying to cut weight, had an injury, I started eating carbs again, but I stayed on my ketones. So if you followed my Facebook last week, I ate all the bad things that you could think of. I had cheeseburgers, I had French fries, I had the best cheesecake I've ever had in my life. I had more cheeseburgers and more French fries. I was on painkillers for 4 days because the tear that I had in my butt was that bad. And if you know anything about painkillers, that blocks up your digestive system. So I stayed taking my ketones. So I took my ketones, I took my multivitamin, came home on Monday, okay? What I can tell you is that on Monday when I came home and my body was inflamed and it was trying to heal my injury and I had all the bad things in my body that block your digestive system up, I weighed 9 pounds heavier than I weigh 5 days later. So if that says anything about the ketones and freeing up your digestive system and alleviating fat from your body, you can do one of 3 things. You can continue eating the way that you're eating and take the ketones and you'll see some weight loss. It's gonna take a while because if you eat all the bad things but you take these, they'll work, but they're gonna take a while. You can start to cut out one of 2 things. Cut out sugar, cut out carbs, whichever one's your harder one. And give it just 3 days and then give yourself a day where you're like, I'm gonna take a little bit of that in, and then take another 3 days and then give yourself a day where you're gonna take a little bit in. Because if you cut it out entirely until you hit your weight loss goal, the thing is it's not sustainable, okay? Or you can cut it out entirely, but you have to know how to figure out when you get to your weight loss goal, what you're gonna do to sustain. Because you can't go from not having it for so many months to having it forever. So that being said, I'm gonna poke your finger and we're gonna have some ketone tests so you can try them. You can give me any finger that you want to. Okay, so one of the things about ketones is it throws off electrolytes. So there's a few different supplements that prove it offers. One of them is the Mitoplex. Mitoplex actually, especially if you're someone like me that works out, Mitoplex throws your electrolytes back into balance. But one of the things that ketones throws out of your body is sodium. So ketones by nature will taste a little bit salty.
I shouldn't have looked at the needle.
No, you're good.
Like I said, I just shouldn't have looked at you put. You
I should have the whole time.
I knew it was in there, but I just shouldn't have looked at you putting it in there.
So one of the reasons that ketones taste salty, and to me they don't taste that salty, but my taste buds, for obvious reasons, are not the greatest.
Before you do that, let me know because I'm actually gonna do a live.
Okay.
Are you ready?